Hey folks, Jeremy DeMerchant here, the sales strategist, and I am here today with your Sunday sales tip. So today's tip is making sure that you don't overeducate your prospect. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it may seem counterintuitive because, of course, through our marketing process and through our prospecting process, we're told that now you need to make sure you educate your client. And you're absolutely right. You want to show them that you're the authority in the field that you're in. You want to teach them the information that they need to be able to see the value in your program, your services, your products. But when you get into the sales conversation, you need to be very careful not to overdo it. So what does this look like? Well, the challenge often shows up when you have somebody who's new to sales or they're really nervous. And the temptation is to show the prospect how much information you know. Okay, you want to tell them all the ins and outs of the product or service or program to show them that you're an expert in what you're talking about. And it's completely understandable, but honestly, it's going to lose you the sale. And the reason that is because you end up talking about things that your prospect doesn't care about. You want to have your sales conversation guided by the needs and the wants of the prospect. So to do it properly, first of all, you want to make sure that you truly understand what the needs and the wants of your prospect are. So what's the result they're looking for? What's the transformation? And does the service or product or program that you're offering provide that? And if it does, great, it's fit. And you need to make sure you go through the process effectively to demonstrate that value and give them the result that they're looking for by selling your program. Now, what you want to do with the sales conversation is simply guide it based on the key pieces that the prospect needs. So when you talk about the program, obviously you're going to talk about the transformation, but keep it simple. Okay? Be very detailed but succinct. And then when you're done with that description, ask them what questions they have. And let their questions guide the next step of the conversation. When they ask the question, answer it in 1 to 2 short sentences, as long as that's enough to properly answer the question. You don't need to talk about all the hours you put into the program, all the research you did. Okay, that actually comes across as defensive. If you feel like the program is solid and is going to deliver the result, that's fine. Be confident in it. You don't have to say it over and over again. And when you end with the answer to a question that the prospect has, you've got 2 options. You give the answer and then you shut up, or you end with, what other questions do you have? Okay, you want to welcome the questions, welcome the objections, welcome the concerns, because they are a reflection of the true needs and wants and also the fears and hesitations that your prospect has. So as you guide them through their questions and those answers, and you do it in a very succinct way, you're only delivering the information that's important to your prospect. You're giving them the information that they need to make the decision. Where if you start talking about all the different areas of the program and you're just dumping information on them that isn't important to them, one of 2 things can happen. One, by giving them a bunch of information that they're not interested in, you might lose them. If they don't care about certain components, about the hours of research you put in or the hours of design time you put into the program, then you might just lose the prospect. Number 2, you could actually bring up an objection that they didn't initially have. If you start talking about a component of the program that they weren't crystal clear on, people don't care about the mechanics, but if you bring up something that brings another question to their mind, that could be an objection that didn't exist before. And suddenly something that really wasn't a big deal, like how many people are in the program, or if you're doing a live event, how big is the room, or if you're doing breakout groups, how many people are in a group. That stuff doesn't matter. But if you focus on that piece and it's not a concern of the prospect, suddenly they might say, oh, well, there's only 6 people in the group that I'm going to be with. Am I going to get the value? Or, oh my gosh, there's 60 people in the group that I'm going to be with. Am I going to get the value? Right? So don't raise concerns that don't matter to the prospect, right? And that's why you avoid dumping too much information and avoid over-educating your prospect. So that's my sales tip for today. I would love your feedback down below. And until next time, I want to remind you to get uncomfortable to get results. I'm Jeremy DeMerchant, the sales strategist. Cheers.